Comet The Colt of Steel, Chapter 3. Just an Average Colt. My name is Apple Comet. I'm 5 years old and I live in Ponyville with my pa, my grandmother, my older siblings, Big Macintosh and Applejack, and my baby sister Apple Bloom. I guess that you can say that I'm just an average Colt, and, well, at least I was until today. It started off like any other morning. I was in the bathroom combing my mane when...
Apple Comet, you almost done in there? Granny says breakfast is ready!
My big sister Applejack called out. She helps my pa and brother with bucking apples out in the orchard. Now if I just get this one hair in front not to curl, and... perfect. Oh, come on! I could never get that one hair to not curl. Oh well, Granny was serving eggs and hay. I knew I'd better hurry. So I made it about halfway down the stairs before I realized that I was staring straight through the floor. I could see and hear and even smell everything as I was in there with them. And to be honest, this isn't the first time something like this happened. I was playing hide-and-seek with Apple Bloom the other day, and I found her in the barn hiding in a haystack. It's not that I found her randomly that was strange. It was the fact that I heard her breathing in there from outside the barn. And just last week, when Apple Bloom lost her doll, Mrs. Appleworth, I found it in Big Mac's room under his bed without having to look under it. I still don't have my cutie mark yet, so maybe I'm supposed to be really good at finding things? I wonder what a cutie mark like that would look like. Is your brother still up there? I could hear Pa talking to Applejack in the kitchen. Wait, I could see them talking in the kitchen through the stairs. There was Granny making another plate of hay and eggs, and Apple Bloom sitting next to my usual, and right next to her, Big Mac was studying for his algebra test. That was today.
I'll go check on him,
Applejack said. She got up from the table to look for me, and it's just now that I realized that I've been looking through the stairs for the last minute.
I'm coming.
In my haste to get down the stairs, I accidentally tripped over my hooves.
Apple Comet! Y'all okay? You okay?
Applejack rushed over to check on me. What happened? I heard Pa say, followed by the sound of hoofsteps and a cane coming from the kitchen.
Apple Comet just fell down the stairs, Pa!
Applejack said. I shook the cobwebs out of my head and looked up to see the whole family looking over me.
Big Mac, get the first aid kit!
My brother nodded and went to the first floor bathroom to fetch it. What happened, son? I don't know, Pa. I kind of felt dizzy for a moment and I tripped on my hoof. He looked at me with a worried expression. You say you felt dizzy? You feeling alright this morning? Where are you hurting? Where are you hurting? I'm okay. Really, Pa, I feel fine. I know it doesn't sound right, a colt falls down a flight of stairs and doesn't get hurt, but as Applejack finished checking me over and Big Mac returned with the first aid kit, she realized that I wasn't fibbing. Her eyes went wide with surprise.
I can't explain it, but I think he's right, Pa. I've looked all over him, from head to hoof, and I can't find one cut, scratch, bump, bruise, or scrape. Guess I was just lucky, or something,
I said, looking up to see looks of astonishment on their faces. Finally, Granny Smith reached over to feel my forehead.
Don't feel warm to me. Have you been getting enough rest? Maybe you ate something?
No, it's not that, Granny, I told her. I feel fine now. I slowly stood back up, making sure to not trip on my hooves again.
You sure that you don't want to stay home from school for the day? I can whip you up a home remedy for dizzy spells. I'll be fine,
I reassured her.
Well, you go be careful going up and down the stairs from now on,
she told me.
Next time, you might not be so lucky.
Thanks, Granny, I said as I rubbed my head. I'll try to remember that. I've had a lot of accidents around the house. Usually it's something I've broken or knocked over, but I've never really gotten hurt from it. Not even a scratch. Well, I guess I'm lucky, I suppose. Anyway, there was more important things to think about, like Granny's hay and eggs. Since Ponyville Elementary had only one classroom, the teachers from each grade took turns using it throughout the day. Apple Bloom and I got to go early in the morning, while Applejack and Big Mac went much later in the day. Pa usually sent them out during their morning chores while we got ready for school.
Goodbye, Apple Comet. Goodbye, Apple Bloom.
Granny gave each of us a goodbye kiss and sent us out the door. I didn't really know it at the time, but this day would be the one that changed my life forever. The ride to school started off like, well, any other morning. Apple Bloom and I took our usual seats in the middle of the cart, and she looked at me with doubt.
You sure you're feeling alright, Apple Comet? That was a bad fall y'all had this morning.
Yeah, I'm fine, I reassured her, but she didn't look convinced.
Y'all have been acting kinda funny lately.
I raised my eyebrow in surprise. Funny? How?
Well, y'all haven't been paying much attention in class or when it's time to do chores. Pa says you got your head in the clouds or something like that.
Maybe she was right. Maybe there was something wrong with me.
Well, to tell you the truth, I've been feeling kind of different lately.
I said.
Different? But how?
She asked me. I looked over the hills into town. Even from this distance, I could see the town's ponies were starting their daily routines, getting the town ready for another day.
Well, I can see Mr. Rich just open up Barnyard Bargains.
I turned my gaze over to the clock store.
And Dr. Hooves is talking to the new mailmare about a broken package. She should really watch where she's going.
Apple Bloom gave me a look of confusion.
Y'all can hear what they're talking about all the way over here?
She asked.
I know it sounds strange, but... well, I can hear them. I can even see their cutie marks from here. Yeah, right. Apple, you're just making stuff up.
I looked over next to Apple Bloom to see one of our classmates. It was Diamond Tiara. Her father, Filthy Rich, was one of Sweet Apple Acre's biggest business partners. Sometimes Mr. Rich dropped her off to play whenever he came by to do business.
There is no way that you can see that far away. Well, how do you know he's making it up, Diamond Tiara?
Apple Bloom said, coming to my defense. Diamond Tiara smirked smugly and said,
Because no pony can see that far away so clearly.
I looked back up at the clouds to see the Pegasi were gone. They're gone now.
I don't know what you're doing, Apple Comet, but it's really
The cart jostled as we passed over a rock. Diamond Tiara lost her footing and tumbled out of the wagon. In an instant, faster than I'd ever moved in my life, I caught her tail in my mouth and pulled her back in. The sound of Diamond Tiara screaming brought the cart to a halt as the driver unhitched himself to check on us. Wait, what's happening? What's going on? He rushed over to check on us, and for the next few seconds there wasn't a sound. Everyone just stood still, their eyes fixed on the shaken pink filly and the white colt in front of her. Finally, Apple Bloom spoke.
Wow, Apple Comet, that was incredible! Wait, how'd you do that?
The other children quickly joined in.
Yeah, that was awesome,
Rumble said.
It was amazing,
Twist said.
How'd you move so fast?
Pipsqueak asked. And I didn't know what to say. Everything happened so fast, I just sat there with my mouth agape as my classmates bombarded me with questions. But finally, the driver managed to silence every pony and get them back in their seats. The rest of the ride to school went on without incident, although my ears could pick up what my classmates were whispering to each other. Well, it figures. My day has only started and I was already the topic on every pony's lips.
Good morning, class,
our teacher said with a warm smile. She was nothing like I'd imagined her to be on my first day. You know, I was thinking about a crotchety, uptight oaf of a mare with no tolerance for horseplay. Miss Shirley was kind, helpful, and, I don't mind saying it, pretty. She didn't mind horseplay as long as it wasn't in class, woe to any foals who did not heed that dire warning.
Good morning, Miss Shirley. Now, today, I thought we would pick up where we left off yesterday on the subject of vowels and consonants.
I sat in the middle with Apple Bloom not really paying attention to, well, any of it. I couldn't think about anything else except what had happened this morning. The events kept playing back in my head in clear detail. Maybe I was coming down with something? Except, what kind of illness makes you see and hear through walls and move that fast?
Apple Comet? Apple Comet?
I looked up to see the entire class staring at me and Miss Cheerly looking at me with concern.
Are you alright?
He doesn't look so good. I heard a brown Colt whisper from the front of the class.
He's been acting funny all morning,
Silver Spoon said, and Diamond didn't say anything. She only looked at me with puzzlement. He looks like he's gonna barf, Snips whispered to Snails.
Apple Comet, are y'all okay?
I looked down to see Apple Bloom's hoof bone on top of my... Wait, what? I pulled my hoof away as I looked up at my little sister, or rather, her skeleton. A shriek escaped my lips as I looked around the room, and there were skeletons seated at every desk in the classroom. Their eyeballs stared at me through their bony sockets, their organs moving around inside their barrels.
Do you need me to call the school nurse?
I looked up to see Mrs. Cheerly's bony face looking down at me. I dived ahead of my desk and bolted straight for the closet door. I slammed it so hard that I heard the wood splinter.
Apple Comet?
I looked through the door to see Skeleton Cheerly reaching for the knob, and I grabbed onto it for dear life, determined to not let them get me.
Apple Comet, open the door right now.
I could feel the knob jostling as she tried to open the door, but I held on as tight as possible.
I promise, I'm not mad at you. I just want to know what is wrong with you. You can't fool me, you monster!
I screamed out as I held onto the door.
I'm not gonna let any of you turn me into one of you!
I felt a warm sensation flash through my eyes as I held onto the door, followed by the sound of Skeleton Cheerly, and she was yelping with pain as she released her hold onto the knob. I could tell that she was struggling to remain composed as she held her hoof in pain.
What's wrong, Miss Cheerly?
Twist asked. The rest of the class had gathered around her, and I could see their little skeletons laughing and giggling behind her at this predicament.
Students, please take your seats and let me handle this.
Most of them went back to their desks. A few tried to stay behind to watch, but Miss Cheerly quickly shooed them back to their seats with the rest of the class.
Miss Cheerly, can I please try talking to my brother?
I saw Apple Bloom had raised her hoof. I blinked my eyes when I thought I saw that she was back to normal. No skeleton, no eyes sticking out of their sockets, just normal, regular, everyday Apple Bloom. I felt my heartbeat begin to calm down, so I let go of the knob and rubbed my eyes as she approached Miss Cheerly.
If you think you can reach him, then you may. Just don't touch the doorknob, okay? It might still be hot,
the teacher replied. She had regained her coat and mane as well, and I looked through the wall at the class to discover that all of the skeleton colts and fillies were gone. They were replaced by my normal classmates.
Apple Comet, it's me.
I could see Apple Bloom staring on the other side of the door. Her voice was choked with sadness.
Y'all can tell me what's wrong, can't ya?
I looked up to see the doorknob had turned red hot and was beginning to melt under the intense heat. I had done that. But I don't know. I don't know, but I knew I had done that. I just felt so overcome with so many emotions. Embarrassment, fear, guilt, regret. It was just too much for me to take. I finally sat back against the door, buried my face in my hind legs, and just cried.
Thank you for coming on such short notice, Bright Mac,
Cheerly said as she sat down at her desk. The classroom had been emptied out, save for Pa, Apple Bloom, and myself. The rest of the class had been given recess early so we could, well, have a bit of privacy. Apple Bloom sat next to me while Pa was content to stand up. Given his stature, there wasn't any seats big enough for him.
It's no trouble at all, Miss Dearly. As soon as I heard what was going on, I dropped everything to head right over, so... Well, what's been going on here? Well, it's the strangest thing,
Cheerly explained.
The whole morning he seems distracted, like his mind was on something else, and when I asked him if anything was wrong, he just screamed and started looking around like he was seeing things. Then he ran to the closest door and, well, he held it shut.
I looked over to the door. The doorknob had finally cooled down enough to be used again. Well, at least the inside one had. Still, don't know how I did that or why I didn't get burned by it. Is all of this true, son? Pa looked down at me with a stern look in his eye. I knew that look. There was no lying to it. I'm not gonna be mad at you. I just want to know the truth.
Yes, Pa. That's the truth.
I sighed and I sunk deeper into my chair, wishing that all of this would just be over soon. I felt something on my shoulder. I looked up to see Pa's hoof on my shoulder. It's okay. I understand, y'all had a rough day. It happens to every pony sometimes.
But, Pa!
Apple Bloom interrupted.
How does that explain what happened to the doorknob?
That doesn't concern you, Apple Bloom, Pa said. He turned back to me. Although, I am mighty curious about that myself. I don't understand how it happened, Pa. When I heard Miss Cheerly sounding angry, just something happened. Cheerly's face softened.
That's alright, Apple Comet. I'll call a repair pony this afternoon. You've had a pretty hectic experience. Why don't you go home for the rest of the day? I'm sure that you'll feel much better tomorrow.
Thanks, Miss Cheerly, I whispered back, and my gaze went down to the bandages covering her burnt hoof.
I am not mad at you, Apple Comet,
she said with a warm smile.
Really, it's my fault for not remembering about doorknobs and fire safety,
she said with a chuckle. I found myself grinning a little bit at her response. Don't worry, Miss Cheerly, Pa said as he headed for the door. I'm gonna have a talk with him as soon as we get home.